of girls talk about this and that. Get familiar with Blue and the charmed ones too. Charm Chats. Welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra and Kat.
Indeed. We are up to episode 205.
Indeed we are.
Yeah. I was not looking forward to this episode.
I know. You mentioned it last season.
Yeah. But...
And I'd forgotten last season that this episode existed. I mean, I remembered the demon that they fight, but I'd forgotten the plot point on which the title is based.
Yes. Speaking of the title, she's a man, baby, a man! Yeah.
Which is the stupidest title.
Yeah, well, it's a reference to a joke in the movie Austin Powers' International Men of Mystery that came out in 97. But it's so not funny.
Mm-hmm.
And had I titled this episode, it would have been not that.
Honey, if you were in charge, this episode never would have gotten made.
Oh, so true. So true.
Or, alternatively, you wouldn't have had Shannon Doherty playing the role. You would have found a male lookalike.
Yes. Jason Priestley. I probably would have cast Jason Priestley, because it would have been fucking funny.
Oh, God, that would
It'd have been a hilarious in-joke. It'd have been great.
Oh, she would have been pissed, though.
Probably. Probably. But it would have been funny, and it would have made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Did they even look anything alike?
Not really, but didn't they play twins on 90210? Wasn't that the point?
I don't know.
I think that was the
I
point.
didn't watch 90210.
Neither did I.
I was never
but I'm fairly certain they
I was
played
never
twins.
into mid-90s drama.
Yeah, I never watched 90210. It was not the drama I chose.
Yeah, I chose TNT drama.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, I think, their tagline.
Yep.
And where I got all of my Charmed reruns.
Indeed.
And where I went on to internet forums to talk with people about Charmed. Mm-hmm.
Well, alrighty then.
Indeed.
Anyway, so we're going to start this one straight out because... Well, hold on. We're not going to start this one right out. We are going to give our lovely disclaimer of, I apologize if you can hear anybody walking around upstairs, talking upstairs. We're just going to talk over it unless it's stupid loud.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
like the dogs.
Yeah, because editing already takes too long and nobody's complained about it, so, you know...
That's fair.
I'm just going to deal. So let's start this episode with the sound of the sump pump gushing water in the background that you probably
trickle,
can't hear.
Trickle, trickle, trickle.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Thank goodness neither of us have to pee already.
Yeah, I think we're alright. If you have to pee, pause now.
I think they do that anyway.
Indeed.
Because while we are doing this live...
They are not.
They are not.
Yeah.
They are viewing this remotely.
We could never do this live.
No.
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 There's absolutely no way that we could ever do a live show because we record for 4 hours and then I condense it down.
4 fucking hours.
Yeah. But to be fair, I really do think that we probably could bring it down if we weren't where we are.
Yeah.
Like if we had a studio where there was no other sounds and like no distractions.
And I had access to some Ritalin.
Yeah. Or Adderall or...
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't make me go, wee.
Yeah. We could do it, but they'd never give us a thing because our podcast is still 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we're never going to be live.
I mean...
And we're okay with it.
Never say never. The Gilmore Guys podcast is often like 3 hours.
True.
But we are not them. We do not have connections in
we do
the
not.
entertainment industry.
No, we do not. And we're not part of a podcast group.
Well, they weren't part of a podcast network when they started doing live shows.
But I'm just saying, like, we're not part of a podcast network, and we probably never will be. We don't have sponsors other than our Patreon people. What up, people? We love you both. So we only have the 2 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd love more, just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
Hey,
Super Saiyan.
Super Saiyan. There's a lot of perks up now.
Mm-hmm.
On our patreon.com.
Yeah, you just put up like 3 bloopers.
I did. Every month there goes at least 1 blooper, and because I'm me, there will usually be at least 1 more. So as of right now, there are at least 10 patron-only perks, of which right now we only have 2 patrons, so only 2 people are getting access to it. But yeah, there's only 1 blooper that is not a patron-only perk, and it's the very first blooper that I put up when we first started of Blue back in episode 105.
Yeah.
Being adorable.
Oh, a full season ago.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't change the spelling of blooper there.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so, we all comfy? We all ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So let's start our episode, shall we? We start with an exterior shot of P3. The neon is lit, but people are leaving the club. And there's now another P3 sign where the now appearing sign had been on the last episode. Kind
The
of.
neon is lit, but the club is not.
Exactly. But there's now another P3 sign where the now appearing sign had been on the last show when it was actually there. That at this point I thought looked neon as well because it was kind of shiny and lit up. Mm-hmm. I found out later that it isn't, but I'll get to that when we get to that. And then we cut inside the club where we see Phoebe coming down the stairs in a white spaghetti strap dress with a seam up the center and no bra.
And she got some perky nips.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a heat wave, which we find out in this. And, you know, for being a heat wave, her nipples sure are perky.
Yeah, the nipples did not get the memo.
Yeah. So, she's also wearing a necklace that has a single turquoise stone on a string, and her hair is pulled up with some white flowers for accents. It was kind of pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Piper is behind the bar, fanning herself with money while the till is wide open. Just saying, like, I'm not a fan of leaving the till wide open.
No, no one is.
Grr.
Well, robbers.
True. She is wearing a black cap sleeve shirt and gray pants with a black and white flower motif on them. She has no necklace, but she does have a beaded bracelet on.
Cute.
Yeah. Phoebe is complaining about the heat wave they're having because it's 2 a.m. and still boiling, and then she gets an ice cube and starts rubbing it on her neck. Mm-hmm. In that, like, oh my god, I'm so hot, like, I must cool down type of way. Piper mentions that the Cranberries are playing an animal rights benefit at the club and is worried about how hot it's going to be.
And then she notices Phoebe making with the ice, and she says, "You keep making like you're on Red Shoe Diaries, I'm going to have to bust out a can of man repellent."
Yeah, it was a great line. And Red Shoe Diaries, for anyone who doesn't know, is an erotic drama series that aired on the American cable television network Showtime from 1992 to 1997. It was distributed by Playboy Entertainment overseas.
And I think I used to watch it.
I never watched it, but I know that we had a couple of them on VHS at the video store. Did they also
play on Skinamax?
I honestly don't know.
Because I remember that was like Channel 98.
I don't know.
And I found it when I was like 6.
I have no idea. The only reason that I even knew what Red Shoe Diaries was because I worked at the video store and we had like we had
great.
we had Red Shoe Diaries and we had Emmanuel in Space.
I think there was a show called like The Witching Hour or something, and it was some radio host talking about his sexual exploits.
Interesting. I don't know that
or
one.
His fantastical sexual exploits. I don't know.
I don't know that one.
He seemed to have an affinity for women leaving their heels on.
Hey, you know, we do not kink shame here at Charm Chats.
No, I'm just saying that's an identifying marker of the show.
Okay.
So if anyone knows of it,
all right,
that's the one.
Sounds good. Anyway, so the storylines for Red Shoe Diaries, this is all from the wiki page, by the way. These storylines usually have a thin plot revolving around some intrigue and the sexual awakening of a girl or woman who often also narrates. Sensuous love scenes with nudity as well as sultry, moody music are characteristic for most episodes. There is no story arc or characters connecting the different stories other than Jake Winters introducing each episode.
Or, for the fanfiction community, PWP.
All right.
Porn without plot.
Got it.
Also, confusingly, porn with plot.
Well,
so there's usually like another tag on there to specify which one it is.
You'd think that without they would put in an O. PWOP.
No, because without is one word.
Yeah, but you'd think.
I don't control the tagging system on fanfiction.
I don't read fanfiction, so I didn't know there was a tagging system.
Well, now you know.
Apparently.
Because it's my super short show.
Huh?
Disney Channel.
Oh. I don't watch Disney Channel either anymore.
Well, so, neither do I. And anyway, this only the Mike Super Short Show thing was a thing that happened right around the time like Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens were airing.
I never watched Even Stevens. I caught a couple of episodes of Lizzie McGuire because I knew the Lizzie McGuire movie was coming out, and I was like, that looks funny, I'll go see that.
Yeah, but it was like a 3 to 5 minute little mini-sode thing featuring that girl who was in the Macy Gray music video.
I'd never liked Macy Gray, so I don't...
Listeners will probably know. But she was also on like some random Disney Channel shows as like guest starring roles.
Interesting.
But yeah, she was on it along with some boy named Mike. And it was usually like, hey, here's a thing we learned about in a couple of minutes. So it was Mike's Super Short Show. Usually affected during a commercial break. And that was the musical tag. So whenever someone says, well, now you know, because it's Mike's Super Short Show.
Well, alrighty then.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, Piper's line about the man repellent is affected because there are, in fact, two dudes staring hungrily at Phoebe.
Yep.
And Piper kind of shoos them off.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. And then Phoebe says that she feels like she's on fire. Piper, of course, then touches her forehead, as all older sisters are wont to do.
As all mom friends.
Yep. And gets her a wet towel because she seems to have a fever.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of how I felt while watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Piper tells her that she should go to the doctor, but Phoebe says she doesn't feel sick. She feels hot, aroused.
So that explains the nipples.
Uh-huh. It does indeed.
The nipples, in fact, it did get the memo.
Yep.
It was just the
wrong
memo.
Yeah. They got the wrong memo.
Well, that's what happens when you mislabel both memos as heat wave.
See, I'd have titled this episode Heat Wave.
There you go.
Or In Heat. Like, that would have made much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
And then it would have been one of those episodes where the title of the episode is said in the episode.
Exactly. And it would have been great. Anyway, so Phoebe tells Piper about a sex dream that she's been having where she's with a different man every night, having such great sex that they could, quote, win the golden medal in the Hugh Hefner Olympics, unquote. So for anyone who doesn't know, Hugh Hefner is the founder of Playboy.
And he's fucking ancient.
Yeah, he's really old. He's like in his 90s now.
Mm-hmm.
Link to him on the website because I really don't want a tangent about him. I'm not in the mood. Mm-hmm. See what I did there? Yeah, okay, never mind. Piper wonders why having such great sex is a bad thing, and Phoebe says that it's a very good thing.
Until she kills them.
Yeah. So every night her dream ends with her killing the guy, which Piper says is a metaphor for extreme sexual frustration, and she should know. Yeah. Prue then comes in wearing a strapless black something. We never really see her entire outfit, but I'm assuming it's a dress.
Or one of those weird things where it's a tube top paired with a skirt and we just can't tell where the middle is.
Indeed.
That happens a lot.
Yep. Her hair is done up halfway with 5 French braids that are kind of cornrow-esque, but they're like French braids that are like thicker. So they're what I lovingly called white girl cornrows.
Yeah.
Because they're just French braids and they kind of stop. They don't cornrow all the way down. They like stop halfway. And she's got that little diamond necklace on again, plus a few like beaded bracelets and a watch. I don't know why I've started also telling the jewelry, but you know, why not? Because it's a continuity thing in this show with the jewelry. So I've started telling the jewelry as well. Anyway, Piper is confused as to why Prue is there because she was supposed to be on a date with a guy named Alan.
Alan!
What?
The BBC thing? With the animals?
Oh, right. Yes.
Alan! Steve!
You'll have to get me a link to that so I can put it on the website.
It's hilarious.
Yep. Anyway, so Prue says that it was a third date and that they had a romantic dinner and then he dropped her off with barely even a kiss goodnight.
Piper, of course, pipes up that it's not necessarily an official rejection because it's only when they say, "I'll call you," that's the kiss of death.
Uh-huh.
And Prue's like, well, I was giving him all of the fucking signals and nada.
Yep. He shut down. She doesn't know why.
Yeah. Phoebe, at long last, in this excruciating scene for her, I'm sure, decides she's done with talking about men and leaves to go take a cold shower and go to bed.
Mm-hmm. And Piper calls after her, "Sweet dreams, don't kill anyone."
And then tells Prue,
don't ask. Yeah, it was cute. It was a cute sister moment. And I don't think we've had one of those in a while. At least not that we've mentioned as a cute sister moment.
I think we've had a few that were like low-key cute sister moments.
Yeah.
So they were basically just sister moments.
Yeah. Then we get an exterior night shot of the manor. And we see Phoebe inside her room, asleep but restless. And then we get her dream, where everything is all in red.
Yeah, there's a nice little bloody filter over the lens.
We can see
and
a
it's
guy...
it's a bit like blurry toward the edges.
Yeah, a little bit, because it's like whooshy.
Yeah. And there's some dude laying on the bed, and he's super pumped about what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm. And we get an insert shot of a woman's lips with red lipstick, though with everything in red, who knows what color they're actually supposed to be.
I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be red.
I'm assuming, but everything's in red, so, you know.
Anyway, as the dude says that the woman is irresistible.
Yeah.
She opens her mouth, and you see her tongue, which apparently has teeth a la Alien.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, kind of.
Like a cross between the Alien and the worm from Dune.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, was the worm from Dune, a little bit.
And it immediately just goes straight down the dude's mouth, and there's this weird, like, CGI, like, pumping action coming back up it.
Yeah, it was bad CGI. This entire episode with this tongue is bad CGI.
I mean, on a scale from... Actually, I have to think of what the scale would be, because I know right at the bottom is 97 CGI Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
And up at the top, I think would probably be something like Moana. But that's like an entire CGI thing, so... Oh, the hair from Moana. There we go.
Yeah.
Like the hair from Moana and Brave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is bad, but it's more like aged Lord of the Rings bad, which was good at the time.
Yeah, no, I'm
Whereas
not saying...
the Jabba the Hutt thing was not good at the time.
Yeah.
Although to a 7-year-old it was unnoticeable.
True.
Because I had no concept of good or bad CGI. I was just like, Star Wars!
Yep.
Because I was 7 and I was obsessed.
Yep. I was 17 and not obsessed.
Well, I was raised on it. We had the original
I didn't
DVDs
see...
before they did the edit.
Yeah, I did not actually see the original Star Wars until I was in my 20s. And...
Yeah, we had the VHSs too.
So yeah, bad CGI abounds. And Phoebe wakes up, covered in sweat and screaming. And we go to the opening credits. Because why wouldn't we, right? So the post-credit song on the DVD is Promises by the Cranberries. And the post-credit song on Netflix is not. Soundhound didn't know what it was, but Shazam did.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Indeed. It is a song called Anything Left by Sharon Levy.
With 2 R's.
Yeah, Sharon with 2 R's. She is a singer-songwriter from Israel, and in 2011, she reached the semifinals of the German television show The Voice of Germany.
So I assume she lived in Germany at that point.
I honestly don't know. There's going to be a link to her wiki page on the website, of course, because there's not a whole lot to tell you about her, so I'm not going to tangent about her anymore. The Cranberries, however, are an Irish rock band formed in Limerick, Ireland in 1989. The group was one of the most successful rock bands of the 90s and sold over 40 million albums worldwide. They have achieved 4 top 20 albums on the Billboard 200 chart and 8 top 20 singles in the modern rock charts. Their song Linger was released in 1993 and it became the band's first major hit, peaking at number 3 in the Republic of Ireland, number 8 in the USA, and number 14 in the UK. It was one of my favorite songs, and it has been covered by a few people, including, but not limited to, Kelly Clarkson, the Malaysian band Estranged, the American indie rock band Real Estate, and a Chicago punk band. Now, okay, hold on. Before I tell you about this one. So, the Malaysian band Estranged and the indie rock band Real Estate, I was like, oh, I could look them up. And then I saw the Chicago punk band named Screeching Weasel.
It's very Chicago.
So I had to look that one up. So if you've never heard of Screeching Weasel, because why would you have, unless you randomly look at Wikipedia pages like I do, let me tell you. They were formed in 1986 by Ben Weasel and John Jughead, and they're from Prospect Heights, Illinois. Now, of course, their real names are Benjamin Foster and John Pearson, but when you have awesome nicknames, you use them.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ben Weasel and John Jughead. The band originally called themselves All Night Garage Sale, which is also kind of an awesome name. But they changed their name to Screeching Weasel, which was a variation of a name a friend had suggested, Screaming Otter, which was in reference to a t-shirt that read, in all caps, I've got a screaming otter in my pants.
Yep, efficient.
Yep. So they went for Screeching Weasel as opposed to Screaming Otter because it was Ben Weasel. And it was funnier. I like Screeching Weasel better than Screaming Otter anyway.
That's true.
Yeah. So, I will link to their wiki page because they actually have one on the website. You're welcome. It's a good read. Anyway, the next hit for the Cranberries was Zombie, released in 1994. This was my other second favorite song of theirs. I loved this song. It was written during the Cranberries' English tour in 1993 in memory of 2 boys, Jonathan Ball and Tim Perry, who were killed in an early 1993 IRA bombing in Warrington, England. And I'm fairly certain that I've mentioned that before on this podcast. I don't remember when, but I know I've mentioned that bombing before. We both shrug.
All I know is a car bomb is a drink I will never actually consume.
What is in a car bomb?
I'm pretty sure it's beer and Irish whiskey.
Oh.
Here, I'll look it up.
Well, I don't drink beer, so I would never consume it either.
This is true.
I'm not a fan of the beer. You know why? To be a beer, it has to be made with hops.
Ah,
And I don't like hops.
Irish car bomb. Guinness and Irish cream.
Ah, well, there you go.
Oh, similar to a Boilermaker, which is a beer and a shot of whiskey.
Well, alrighty then.
And for some reason, Wikipedia felt the need to specify that when the beer is served as a chaser, the drink is often called simply a shot and a beer. Okay, useless information.
Hey, Wiki is person-made, so blame the person who wrote it.
Sorry, I looked under similar drinks, and the first one I'm gonna try and pronounce, but it's Dutch, so who knows how well this will go. Kopstutje, which means little headbutt,
Alright.
which is Dutch gin and beer, and Herrengedeck, literally gentleman's menu, which is a German pairing of corn, spelled with a K, but no backwards R, so it's not the band, which is a grain brandy and beer.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So that's German.
Okay.
Kopstutje and Herrengedeck.
Gesundheit.
Danke.
Bitte. And there we go. The only German I know. Okay.
No, I can teach you.
Dankeschön,
No,
bitte sehr.
You know how to say shit in German, don't you?
I don't know.
Scheiße.
Oh, yeah, well.
Mhm.
I think I've said this before, but I used to know how to say, will you sleep with me for a pack of cigarettes in German?
Oh, yeah, you have.
Yeah. Thanks, Grandpa.
Oh, Grandpa.
Yep. And that's a story for another day, though I think I've already told it.
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
It was a story for a previous day.
It was. All right. So, Zombie reached number 1 on the charts in Australia, Belgium, France, Denmark, and Germany. And it also won the Best Song Award at the 1995 MTV Europe Music Awards. It only got to number 22 on the US Billboard Hot 100 Airplay charts, but it did get number 1 on the US Billboard Hot Modern Rock Tracks chart. As of January 2007, the video for Zombie has over 470 million views on YouTube and is one of the 250 most viewed videos on YouTube. So that's pretty good. In April 2017, there will be a new Unplugged album featuring many of the band's hits, along with 3 new songs. And I'm really excited about it. So there we go. Breaking news.
Why are you breaking the news?
Breaking news about the cranberries.
They make nice juice.
Yes, alright. It is good for your body.
UTIs.
Yeah, it is good for your body.
Especially if you're a body with a vagina.
Indeed.
In the accompanying short urethra.
Indeed. So, back to the show. We get a shot of the Oakland Bay Bridge in the background of a building shot where we see the Triangle Building before getting an exterior shot of Buckland's that pans down to the sign. And we see a man walk past the sign, and this is the same man from the last episode, so now we get to give him a name.
Woo!
Woo! He shall now be known as Brown Suit Man, because he was wearing a brown suit, and he is an older gentleman, so he's man instead of guy, as a sign of respect.
And I will be calling him BDSM.
Which is funny, though, because I was going to call him Brown Suit Bald Man, but that seemed kind of mean. But he is bald.
That's not mean that's accurate.
But it just seemed mean to use that. To use his
If you
hair
called
as an
him
indicator.
brown suit male pattern baldness man, that'd be mean.
That would also be a mouthful.
Not for me. I can say anything 5 times fast. Anything, 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 anything.
Indeed. That's a callback to a joke that you don't get, because I cut it out. Ha ha. Anyway. Though Patreon people get it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Or at least they will at
Yes.
some point in the future when I put that perk up.
In the future! Future!
Yeah. So now we have Brown Suit Lady and Brown Suit Man.
And then an insert shot of a fan.
Yeah,
That rhymes.
it does indeed. So we get a lovely insert of a fan and a man walking, wiping his forehead to show that it's still super hot, And then they pan over to the elevator, and Prue gets out of the elevator holding a brown purse and wearing a white long-sleeve V-neck top and a turquoise skirt. And she still has the little diamond necklace. And like I thought about Phoebe in the scene before...
Her nipples are a wee too perky for this weather.
Indeed.
And we know her nips didn't get the same memo Phoebe's nips did.
No, they did not. So she's walking calmly down the hall until she turns the corner where she then runs into her office. She gets out a little mirror from her purse and checks her hair and her makeup, and then walks quickly back outside and tries to look nonchalant at an auction item that looks sort of like some sort of fertility something, like it was abstract people holding an egg. Mm-hmm. And then a man comes around the corner wearing a dark suit and carrying a briefcase.
And we are informed that this is Alan.
Uh-huh.
And
Alan
he is not, in fact, a prairie dog.
is not a prairie dog. Alan is played by Michael McLafferty. Mm-hmm. He was born in Los Angeles, California in 1972, lived in Hawaii until he was 7, moved to Colorado until he was 13, and then moved to Maine.
So he's lived off of the mainland. He's lived on the West Coast. He's lived on the East Coast. He's lived in the middle. He's lived everywhere except Alaska.
Yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though there's time. You never know. He started acting in 1993 and has been in a bunch of TV movies and single or double episodes of TV shows, but he hasn't done anything since 2015. In 2007, he married Patty O'Donnell. That's Patty with an I. She is an actress, but her only credits were Woman at Party in the Jim Carrey comedy from 2003, Bruce Almighty, and Seven Corpse in a horror movie from 2008.
Shouldn't it be Seventh Corpse?
It just said Seven Corpse. It's a horror movie from 2008 called Breathing Room.
Of course.
Yep. I went directly from IMDb on that. The name of the character was Seven Corpse.
Need to rewatch House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay. You do that. I will not be doing that.
No, you don't need to.
Yeah.
I'm only okay with it because I've seen it several times before.
Yeah, no.
Back when I could really handle lots of horror movies, and I watched all of the Halloween movies when I was like 10.
Nah. I've never been a horror person.
Oh, I'm not anymore. I have too much empathy.
Mm-hmm. I like working in haunted houses, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Well, yeah, because you're behind the curtain.
Yeah. And no one actually dies. It's nice.
This is true.
Anyway, so apparently the air conditioning is on the fritz at Buckland's, which makes Prue's shirt an odd choice. Why would you wear long sleeves? Unless you didn't know that the air conditioning was on the fritz.
Well, in a heat wave with the air conditioning on the fritz, like...
But if it's a heat wave, why would you wear a shirt with long sleeves? You would wear a short sleeve shirt with a jacket.
Maybe.
In case it's cold in the office.
Maybe she's trying to make an impression on Alan so that he'll think she's actually good at dressing appropriately for work.
Could be, because this is a much more work-appropriate outfit than things she's worn in the past.
Yes, and in point of fact, the Prue who wears random-ass tube tops and tank tops with no bra to work would have been very appropriately dressed for an air-conditionless office in a heat wave.
Very true.
Especially since they were black and they wouldn't show sweat stains.
Yeah.
But instead she's wearing a white shirt.
Yeah.
Which is going to show sweat stains and also cleavage sweat stains.
Yeah.
So,
it's an odd choice of
dressed great
wardrobe.
for work, Prue, just not today.
Yeah, indeed. So, Prue and Alan chat a moment about their date, which he says went well.
And then he gives her the kiss of death by saying, I'll call you.
Yeah.
And leaves for the elevator.
Yep, and he passes Daryl on his way into the elevator, and then Prue recalls what Piper had said earlier about the kiss of death. Just as Daryl comes up to her, he is wearing an orange shirt and tie under his dark tan suit.
Yeah, not my favorite choice of his.
No, I like him better in purple.
It works fine, but not for him.
It works fine on him, but I like him better in purple.
Well, yeah.
He just looks really good in purple.
I mean, this is actually probably the worst outfit Daryl's had so far.
Yeah, but that's not saying...
But that's because our standards are very high for him.
Yeah.
And honestly, whoever does wardrobe for him, their standards are very high. Mm-hmm. And they pick good shit normally.
Yep.
Just not today. Just like with Prue's wardrobe.
Well, but it's a heat wave, so he's wearing, like the clothes he doesn't care about getting sweat stains on, I'm assuming.
The clothes that were a gift from his mother.
There you
whose
go.
Fashion sense was left in the 70s.
There you go. So he says they need to talk, and they start walking down the hall. And as they're walking, she asks him for an explanation on why men send mixed signals and what they really want. And then they walk into Prue's office, and Daryl opens the door for her.
Which makes Prue say, romance may be dead, chivalry isn't.
Yeah, it was cute. He then tells her that they have 4 men who have been killed over the past 4 nights since the heat wave started, and that he has no suspects. And she plays coy with a, I'm sorry to hear that. But of course, he's not having it.
No, and he's like, I know you've got a secret, and I don't need to know what it is, but can you help me?
Yeah. He shows her the pictures of the victims, and they all have evidence stickers on the back of them, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
She asks what happened to them, and he tells her that they had severe cerebral trauma, and they were drained of all their testosterone. She asks if they had anything else in common, and he says that they were members of a dating service called Fine Romance.
Which is a stupider title for a dating service than the title of this episode is for an episode.
I mean, it's not a good name for a dating service, but it's still a better name than this. But it's still a better name than this episode title.
And it's not even intentional tacky. Like, intentional tacky can be fun, especially with dating services.
True.
This is just, we want you to know that we're elegant, so we're gonna name it something that makes it sound like we're elegant.
But again, I don't have
it's
a problem.
It's very trying too hard.
I don't have a problem with it being called Fine Romance. I think that is a much better title than the title of this episode is a good title.
I mean, if you're gonna go with romance, you can at least pick, like, a Frank Sinatra lyric.
I don't know. They might not have been able to for copyright reasons. Just saying. Anyway, so he's already staked out Fine Romance because he knows that somebody's going to die and he can't stop it because there's, too many suspects, too many...
Oh, wait. I know why it bothers me. It's too close to Find Romance.
Could be.
That's probably it. That's why I hate it.
If they had called it Find Romance, you'd have been okay with it?
I would have rolled my eyes, but yeah, I would have been better with it.
Good to know. Anyway... So, Frey says that she'll see what she can do, but he tells her to let him know whatever she finds so that she doesn't get hurt, and his boss doesn't get upset about him having yet another unexplained case, and he gets up to leave.
Oh, Daryl, we got some bad news for you.
Yeah. Your boss is gonna be mad, dude. So sorry. So then we get an exterior shot of the manor, and in the living room, Phoebe is lying down on the couch with a fan going. Piper brings in a tray with iced tea and pickles. Because, in case you don't know, pickles are really good at giving back electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are overheating, eat some pickles.
Or if you just want pickles, eat some pickles. I'm a fan of pickles.
Yes.
As long as they're not bread and butter.
Yeah.
This is disgusting.
No.
So disgusting.
Those are gross.
Dude, kosher dill all the way.
Yeah.
Or garlic dill.
I like kosher dill better.
I like the garlic dill because it has lots of garlic.
Well, you're a garlic fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a garlic okay. Like, you're... Okay, I'm a garlic fan, you're a garlic fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that works better.
Yeah, the Clausen Hardy garlic. Good shit. Mm-hmm. And I used to make my own relish out of, like, the sandwich slices.
Interesting.
Well, because they're already ridged, so you have lines on which to cut. And then once you cut lengthwise, you can dice them up.
Interesting.
Because I hate actual relish because it's all sweet, and that's disgusting. So I'd make my own relish.
Well, there you go.
Also, it wouldn't be so fakely colored. Like, I get that that's a thing for the Chicago hot dog to have this, like, neon green fucking relish. Yeah. It's not even neon green. It's neon Kelly green.
Yeah.
Like, no, keep that away from me. Only time I want to see Kelly green is in the river in March.
Okay.
Because they dye the river.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you giving me that look?
I'm not giving you a look. I'm drinking my Frappalulu. Sorry. I was channeling Bunny from Graveyard Girl. Or, well, Bunny is Graveyard Girl. Mm-hmm. It's a YouTube thing. Don't mind me.
Cool.
Anyway. Phoebe is in light tan shorts and a blue cami top with white bra strap showing and a thin yellow necklace. Piper is in a thin, pale pink, sleeveless, collared button-down top and cream-colored pants.
And of course, Phoebe is relating her latest dream to Piper, where she says she could feel everything happening, right down to killing the guy.
Yep.
And as she's saying that, she puts, like, this round pitcher, this, like, extremely bulbous pitcher of iced tea on her forehead.
Yeah, she kind of puts it against her skin, she puts it down to her chest.
Yeah.
And then she takes a sip from the pitcher, which I just thought was very funny. It's like, that's not going to help, because you're warming up the tea by putting it against your skin, and then you're going to drink it. Like, whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, considering that water takes one kilocalorie of energy to change the temperature of 1 ounce, 1 degree or something. I forgot what the thing is. I learned it in chemistry, though. But yeah, water's one of those things that it takes a lot of energy to change the temperature of.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Chemistry was not my strong suit. I don't think I ever took a chemistry class. So I had biology, but that was a required class, so I had to take it.
Yeah, chemistry was required for me, too.
No, I don't think I ever took chemistry.
Bio, chem, physics.
No, I didn't take chemistry.
And then 4th year,
physics.
I did jack shit.
No, I didn't take chemistry or physics.
Physics was fun.
I had biology my sophomore year, but I had it at Catholic school and then at public school.
Oh, I didn't know you went to Catholic school.
I've never told you that?
Nope.
I could have sworn I did. Yeah, I went to Catholic school for my freshman year and the first half of my sophomore year.
Huh.
And then I wound up...
I always got threatened with Catholic school.
Oh, no, I wanted to go to Catholic school.
I would have been a nightmare for them.
I actually wanted to go to Catholic school. Well, let me rephrase. I didn't want to be in the same school as my brother my freshman year because my brother was a senior and I didn't want to be Josh's little sister. Mm-hmm. And the only other school I could have gone to would have been private school, which meant Catholic school.
Yeah.
It was either Catholic school or Jewish school, and I was like, I'd rather go with the Catholics because I am not a Jew at all. I had not been really raised Jewish at all. I'd never read the Torah. I hadn't become bat mitzvah. There was no nothing. So I was like, Catholic school, yeah, that'll work. I can just sit in mass.
Because you're one of those cashews that cancels out.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to Catholic school for a year and a half. I went my freshman year and failed Spanish.
Ay, Dios
horribly.
mío.
Yeah, horribly failed Spanish. So I took summer school. So the school I went to was Regina Dominican in Wilmette, Illinois. And then for summer school, I went to Loyola, which was our brother school, I guess. And they had become co-ed. Like, Regina is an all-girl school. Mm-hmm. But Loyola had become co-ed because they merged with...
for fun.
I don't remember what the name of the school is that they merged with.
Meh.
It doesn't really matter, but this was many years ago now anyway, so there you go. Wow, it was over a decade ago. God, I'm old. Okay. But yeah, so my sophomore year, I took...
Nearly 2.
Oh God, yeah. 2 decades ago. Mm-hmm. My God, I'm old. It is 2 decades ago.
Yep.
Yeah, over 2 decades ago. That is terrifying. Okay, but yeah, so my sophomore year, I took biology at Catholic school, and we ended the first semester with genetics. And I got an A in genetics. I found it fascinating. And then when I came into public school for second semester, we started with genetics. So I got another A in genetics. It was the only reason I passed bio.
Uh-huh.
Because I hated biology class. It was boring and it was annoying and I hated it. But genetics I found fascinating and I got to learn it twice. And so I was very excited. So I got...
Solid.
Yeah, it was the only... I wound up with, I think, a C in the class because I got an A in genetics coming in and an A in genetics when I got there.
Cool.
And then failed the rest of it because I just didn't care enough. But yeah, I wound up switching schools because of many factors. One of which was religion class and I did not get along very well. And then English class and I did not get along very well. And so it was we think that she would be suited better not in our learning establishment. And so I switched back to public school. Yeah.
Yeah. I found out that one of the guys I work with went to the same high school as my dad just a couple of years after.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Joliet. Like, there was the Catholic boys' school and the sister St. Mary's, I think. And now it's just, like, all Joliet Catholic Academy or whatever. Like, they went co-ed a while ago.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was really funny because my coworker was talking about how he grew up in Joliet, and they were always having parades back then because it was, like, you know, actually a well-to-do suburb before, you know, stuff happened. Factories shut down, and the slow crushing press of unemployment came down. And, I assume, drugs.
Yeah. Well, and there's the jail in Joliet. And...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The big prison. Rawr. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny because I went with my dad to his 50th reunion. Mm-hmm. And one of the priests is still alive from when he went to school. And the man was not exactly a young man 50 years ago. I think he's like 90.
Wow. Yeah.
And he had a walker. And he looked like a bald, fat monk. It was great.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my high school years were interesting, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got threatened with Catholic school a lot if I didn't behave. Clearly it didn't work. You're like, why do you want to send me to Catholic school? Like, that's stupid. You know I'm going to get in trouble way fucking more. I was not a bad kid either.
Yeah.
Like, the problem was that I would forget homework assignments. I still did well in my classes, because, like, I could reasonably bullshit. And honestly, I had the most trouble in math, because I just didn't get it, and that wasn't something homework could fix. Like, I had tutors, and, you know, my grades weren't failing most of the time once I got to high school in math. The only reason I didn't fail 8th grade algebra was because I did the homework.
So you liked math?
Not really. It was frustrating for me, because I was, like, right on the cusp of the honors and the regular math. Like, I was smart enough to be in honors, but I was always in the bottom of the class. Mm-hmm. Because algebra made 0 sense to me until I got to geometry. So, like, I was very good in math in elementary school, and then middle school hits, and 6th grade, I get, like, a B. 7th grade, I get a C. 8th grade, I only get a D because I do the homework even though I have zero understanding of what the fuck is going on. And I'm sitting in class and it's all like completely just gibberish being spewed at me. And so I draw under my desk the entire time because nothing is going in. I stay at lunch pretty much every day that I can. And nope, nothing. I just do the homework, and even though it's all wrong, my teacher gives me participation points. She's like, well, we don't technically, like, give letter grades on homework, so it's a completion grade, so you're fine.
Interesting.
And that was the only way that even happened.
Interesting.
And then once I got to high school, we did geometry, and suddenly everything made sense. Everything made sense. It was kind of insane.
That sounds kind of insane.
And then trig was okay. And then we get to calculus, and I'm starting to, like, fall way behind again. And so I get my friend Paul to tutor me, because we were in the same class. And then I somehow get a 5 on the AP, because I'm pretty sure that our teacher gave us the BC Calc curriculum instead of AB, because the BC is, like, the super advanced kids for AP. And AB is just the, like, regular advanced placement.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty sure he gave us the wrong curriculum. Because, like, my kids always get 5s on the AP test. And we're like, dude, you cannot expect that. Especially from me. And then it happened, and I was just like, something's fishy here. I'm not that good. You tricked me somehow. And then I went to music school and never had to take math again.
There you go.
Or French.
Yeah. I was laughing, though, because at Regina, you had to have 2 years of a language to graduate. And I failed Spanish freshman year.
Oh, no.
And didn't even take a language sophomore year. I was like, there's no way I'm graduating. Like, I knew it right then. I was like, there's no way I'm graduating. I failed beginner's Spanish. And the only options I had were Spanish, French, and German, I think. And I was like, my mother took Spanish. That's the only reason I'm like, there's a possibility of me maybe not failing Spanish just because my mother took it and she could help me. But no, there was no doing it. My brain does not like to learn another language. Like, sign language is the only language that I had any proficiency in. And even that is because it's not a mouth language, it's a hand language.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
See, and I really liked French. Mostly because I hated Spanish by the time we got to middle school and had to pick something. Because it's frustrating when you have Spanish once a week and you spend the entire time relearning what you learned last week. Which sounds impossible once you go back 2 weeks, but it's not. Especially when you're dealing with second graders.
Yeah.
And then by the time 5th grade rolls around and we have to choose what language we're going to do in middle school, I'm just fucking done with Spanish. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, like, I wish I'd been able...
It's nice.
I wish I'd been able to learn Spanish. I really do. Like, if I had maybe started when I was younger, I'd have been able to find a way to teach my brain to make it work.
Well, that's true, because, you know, developmentally...
Yeah, the younger you are when
you... works better.
Yeah.
It baffles me that, like, in the 50s and shit, educators were like, oh, bilingual children are at a disadvantage because they have to learn 2 languages. Evidence shows they do fine. Like, you have bilingual children who do fine in English as long as they are exposed to English early enough. Like, once they catch up in English, they're good. They don't have to unlearn Spanish to make room for English in their brain. That ain't how it works.
No.
In fact, the more languages you learn as a child, the better off you do.
Indeed. You would be amazed how much your brain actually keeps in your brain.
I know. I still remember a lot of Spanish. And granted, not all of it was stuff I learned as a child, but the rhythm of it sticks up there. And honestly, now that I know a couple of swear words, I understand a lot more of what my boss says during the day at work. Once I learned how to say fuck in Spanish, I heard it from him all the time. And the first couple of times I just turned around and I'm like, dude, language. And then he got this oh shit face. She's like, shit, she knows Spanish now. I'm like, I don't. I just know fuck. Because I've been watching a lot of Spanish movies.
See, and you shouldn't have said anything, because then it would have been even funnier.
Well, I don't say anything now. He
Yeah.
still says it.
Yeah. I think that's the funniest thing is one of my friends...
Well, also, I've always done the thing, because when he argues with his aunt, you can tell it's an argument, and he's just, like, being petty, and so I'll just, like, occasionally laugh at the shit they say, even if I don't understand it.
Nice.
And then I'll sometimes mock him. Just a little bit. Because if he tries to do, like, an impression, like, meh, I'll be like, meh. And then his aunt laughs at me, and then we bond.
Nice. Yeah, one of my friends speaks fluent Spanish and fluent German.
Nice.
And English, of course, but her native language is actually Polish. So she knows 4 languages. But it's hilariously funny because she still sounds like a little Polish girl. She has the little Polish accent and it's adorable. But wherever she works, I can't remember. Like, I know she works in a warehouse, but I can't remember exactly what she does. But she works with a bunch of Hispanic guys, and they'll randomly be talking about some stuff, and they don't know that she knows Spanish fluently. And she goes, and I'll never tell them, because the second she says anything, they'll stop talking. So she has learned more about the ins and outs of that company through them talking to each other in Spanish than she has from her own boss.
That tracks.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We should probably get back into the episode.
Probably. I think that was about 20 minutes of tangent.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 20 minutes, but it was definitely a long time.
I think it was probably more.
No, I don't know. It was a long tangent. That's all I know. We don't just tangent to tangent. We tangent because of reasons.
Because it's relevant. Mm-hmm. And occasionally revelatory.
Indeed. So, getting back into the episode, Piper tries to tell Phoebe that she didn't kill anyone, but Phoebe says that she can still taste his blood, which is kind of gross, and I feel bad for her, because the taste of blood, not the greatest.
No, it really doesn't mix well with iced tea.
No, really, really doesn't. Piper puts a thermometer into Phoebe's mouth, probably just to shut her up.
Yeah.
But also to take her temperature. And Prue walks in, again to Piper's surprise, because she was supposed to be at work.
Apparently, Prue's just showing up all manner of places she's not supposed to be this episode.
Mm-hmm. So, Prue mentions Daryl's visit before noticing Phoebe with the thermometer, and we learn that Phoebe has a temperature of 100.5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 38.06 Celsius for anyone wanting to know.
Because human body temperature is supposed to be 36, I think, degrees Celsius.
Yeah, I don't know. 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Though I run low. I'm normally a 97.5 kind of gal. So if I'm at 98.6, I have a low-grade fever.
I think I've talked about how my temperature was always high, and then when I eat, it goes up. So I'd always go to the nurse after lunch.
That's funny. So Piper tells Prue that Phoebe won't see a doctor, with a disapproving tone, and asks what Daryl wanted. And Prue says that he wanted her help, and hands Piper the files with the victims' pictures in it. Phoebe is startled as she recognizes the men from her dreams. All of them. When asked, she tells Prue that she's been having these dreams for the last 4 nights, which is when the murders began. So Piper thinks that her powers might just be growing, so she gets premonitions in her sleep, and Prue thinks that she might be physically linked to a demon or something.
And of course, because Phoebe has a complex about these things, she thinks she's the killer.
Which of course makes Piper give a sigh of frustration. Prue says that she should go to the dating service to see if she gets a psychic flash, while Piper stays to look at the Book of Shadows for anything at all. Phoebe is concerned that they want to send her to, quote, Bachelor Central, but it is the best course of action to try and stop someone else from dying. And then we go to commercial break. When we come back from our commercial break, we have an exterior shot of Fine Romance, which we see black lettering on a peach-colored awning. And we see 3 men walk in and then pan over to see Prue and Phoebe walking toward the doors. And Prue is still in the same outfit as before, and Phoebe has added a sheer, long-sleeve top with purple and yellow dots all over it, over her outfit. Now again, why the long sleeves in a heat wave? I don't understand it, but whatever. Daryl is in a car with his new partner, Smith, and they're watching some suspects in the car.
Can we call him Smitty because he's annoying?
Totally. You absolutely can call him Smitty. Go for it.
Shitty Smitty!
There you go.
I am a nickname machine. Yeah. Shitty Smitty sees Prue and Phoebe and starts taking photos of them and says something derogatory about their boobs, like nice rack or some shit. And Daryl tries to make him shut up, but Shitty Smitty does not get the memo.
Yeah, he makes yet another sexist remark and continues to take pictures of Prue and Phoebe. So he has a name, so I can now tell you about him. Smith is played by Lex Medlin.
And he's meddling in our show.
So he started acting in 1993, and this was his 5th acting gig. He did a few single episodes of TV shows until 2002, when he got a 5-episode run on a show called Still Standing.
Oh, hey!
Yep, which starred Mark Addy, Jamie Gertz, Jennifer Irwin, and Renee Olstead, which I'm sure somebody will know who those people are.
Well, Mark Addy was in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And he was in A Knight's Tale.
Okay. Is that the guy you were trying to tell me about last time? Or like a few episodes
at some
back?
point. I was just trying to tell you about Still Standing.
Yeah.
And how it was a pretty good example of a married couple.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have edited that out.
You might have.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain I did. So yeah, he then got a 10-episode run on a show called Rock Me Baby, which
One more time?
Nope, just Rock Me Baby.
They probably wanted one more time because they only had one season.
Indeed. It starred Dan Cortez, who was like an MTV VJ kind of dude. Like he was a wannabe rock star dude.
For some reason my brain was like, VJ, what does that stand for? Venereal jizzies?
No. It was a video jockey.
Yep.
Which is even funnier. Then, after a few more single episodes of stuff, he got his own show called Happy Hour, but it only had a single season of 14 episodes, which aired weird. According to IMDb, the first 5 episodes aired in September and October of 2006, and the last 9 aired between September and November of 2008.
That's even worse than Firefly.
Yeah, a single season with a year hiatus in the middle for some reason. So, who knows? After that, he was back to single episodes of stuff, and then he got a 9-episode run on Southland, and then back to single episodes of shows. His biggest break was in 2011 when he got a role on Drop Dead Diva. He got 43 episodes on that.
Damn.
Yeah. He's now back to single episodes of stuff, but has a movie called Golden Boy in post-production with Armin Shimmerman.
Ah!
Yeah, apparently.
Quark!
Yep, I know nothing else about it because there's nothing else about it on IMDb.
Oh no.
So, yeah. Back to the show. We cut inside Fine Romance, where we see a woman in a low-cut purple ruffly dress.
Who honestly has one of those bodies that, like, she's boobs, but otherwise she's a stick.
Yeah, and there's reason for that.
Yes.
Yeah. She welcomes them into Fine Romance and introduces herself as Darla.
Which immediately gives me Angel flashbacks.
Same here. Yep.
Especially because she's blonde.
Yep, absolutely. Darla is played by Heidi Mark. She was born in 1971, was on the April 1994 cover of Playboy, was Playboy Playmate of the Month in July of 1995, and was married to Vince Neil for 14 months. They apparently broke up due to his heavy drinking, violence, and cheating. Thank you, IMDb and Wikipedia.
I'm surprised she lasted 14 months with that shit.
Well, I don't know if they separated before the 14 months were over, but they were divorced after 14 months. She started acting in 1994 and was in single episodes of a bunch of stuff. She had a 7-episode run on a show called Thunder in Paradise, which was a TV show starring Hulk Hogan.
And that's exactly what you would expect a TV show starring Hulk Hogan to be titled.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of funny. So, she's never really done anything big with her career, and she hasn't acted since 2003, but one of the first things she was ever in was Red Shoe Diaries.
Oh, lovely.
Which is a lovely callback to the first scene with Piper and Phoebe.
Aww.
I liked it. So,
Phoebe immediately throws Prue under the bus and says, oh, she's going to be signing up while I look around.
Yep.
And then Darla informs Prue that they're running a special.
Yeah. 1 year unlimited access to our internet and video library with a money-back guarantee for only $3,500. Yeah, Prue says she could buy a man for that, which I thought was hilarious.
Fun fact, my mother signed up for a dating service that was about that much.
Yeah?
Yeah, I saw a couple of her emails.
Interesting.
And obviously it didn't go anywhere.
Uh-huh. I don't think I'd ever pay that much for that.
Oh, God, no.
Anyway, back to the show.
Yeah.
So, Prue says that she could buy a man for that amount of money.
And Darla replies with, she can always tell the frustrated ones.
Yeah.
And asks her about her man troubles.
Yeah, it was very funny. And then we cut to Phoebe, just as she bumps into a guy and they have an adorably awkward exchange, where we learn that his name is Owen Grant. And as she introduces herself, she touches him to give him a handshake and gets a premonition of him being killed by a toothy tongue down his throat.
Yay!
She immediately gets flustered, as she does, and is like, I have to go! And then she waves as she runs away from him. And it was adorable. So, Owen here is played by Nick
Stable?
Stabile? Stable? I honestly don't know how to say his last name. It's Stabile.
Say Stable.
Sure. I'll just call him Nick, because that's his name. He was born in 1971, and he's been acting since 1995.
Sounds like a pretty stable acting career. Yep, that's why I told you to call him Stable.
There you go.
Because I thought of that joke 10 minutes ago.
There you go. So, he's got a few single episodes of TV shows before landing a gig on a soap opera called Sunset Beach in 1997. He had 156 episodes on that show.
Which sounds like a lot.
But Eddie Cibrian was also on that show. He had 497 episodes.
Which sounds like a lot, but
Sunset Beach aired from 1997 to 1999 and only had 756 episodes. Yeah. So after...
So technically, Stable was on more than 10% of them. And Eddie Cibrian was on more than 50% of them.
Yes.
Probably about 66%, actually.
Okay. Like I said, math was not my strong suit. Anyway, after a few more years of single episodes of stuff, he got a short run of 14 episodes on the soap opera Passions, which, for comparison, ran from 1999 to 2008 and had 1,429 episodes. And
so he was less than 1% of the show.
Yeah. And I remember on Buffy, it was one of the shows where Spike was watching it.
Yeah.
So I didn't write this in my notes, but I remember it from looking it up. Because Spike was watching it, and I think it was
when
the
he was
episode...
living in the mausoleum.
Was it that, or was when he was living with Xander?
Oh, no,
I think
it was living with Xander.
Yeah, I think it was when he was living with Xander, and he called out like that, "You're going to make me miss Passions," and it was like, "Timmy's down a well again, and if you make me miss it all," and then it was that whole like, "You'll what, lick me to death?" That kind of thing. Yeah. But so I looked up Passions, and that's what I said. It was 1,429 episodes for Passions. And if you want to look it up, I'll probably put a link to Passions.
I love that
you
listed so much of his acting career.
I did.
Yeah, you don't normally list this much of the acting career.
I don't. I just thought it was very interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll put a link to Passions on the website because it's an interesting look at the characters that were in it. Timmy in particular.
Who apparently likes to fall down wells.
Well, Timmy's dead now, so...
How many times has Timmy died?
No, just the once on the show and then once in real life a couple of days after that show aired.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Anyway. Yeah. So, Nick then had a longer run of 52 episodes on a show called Saints and Sinners in 2007 before getting a couple more single episodes of stuff. And then he got an 18-episode run on the soap opera Days of Our Lives in 2009, then a couple of movies, before getting a 14-episode run on the soap opera General Hospital in 2016. And that is his last credit.
So far.
For comparison's sake, General Hospital started in 1963 and is still going. And as of right now, when we are recording this, it has 5,113 episodes.
Which is nothing to sneeze at. Unless you're allergic to the hospital.
Right. Which, remember, it started in 63. Days of Our Lives started in 65.
Oh, God.
2 years after General Hospital. And they have, as of the day we are recording this, 10,056 episodes.
Nearly twice as many.
Yeah.
They're probably going to eclipse him at some point.
Yeah. So they started 2 years later and have twice as many episodes.
Oh, damn.
Not exactly sure how that happened, but it happened. So there you go, in case you wanted to know. So then we cut back to Prue and Darla. And Darla invites her to the mixer that's happening that night.
And Prue stammers defensively that she doesn't have man troubles, she has money troubles.
Yeah. And then Phoebe shows up, and after a cute little moment between them, they leave together.
Well, the funny thing is that Prue talks about having money troubles as she's handing Darla a check.
Yeah.
Like, honey, if you have money troubles, you're not going to be paying for the dating service. But Phoebe probably knew it was a paid dating service and immediately was like, between the two of us, who has money? Not me!
Indeed. So then we cut to the manor. Piper is fanning herself with a handheld electric fan.
And staring out the window at next-door neighbor Dan, who is washing his car.
Yep, he is wearing a black t-shirt and blue jeans while washing his car. Why you would wear jeans to wash your car?
That's not the outfit you wear while washing your car.
Yeah, no.
Jeans, fine, whatever. But black shirt?
It's a black shirt and jeans while washing a car in a heat wave. This is not the right outfit to be wearing.
No, you wear your board shorts.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
Yeah. You put on your swimsuit and you go to town on the car.
And then on whoever has been watching you, wash the car.
Well, anyway, so
Prue and Phoebe startle her by walking inside.
Yeah, this is getting to be a thing. They ask if she found anything in the Book of Shadows.
Which has been sitting on the table in this little, like, bay window area.
Mm-hmm. And seeing that she's distracted, they go look to see what was catching her attention outside. And Prue, upon seeing Dan, says that he has a great tan and nice body.
He doesn't have that much of a tan.
He really doesn't, but it'll be a callback later, so they're setting it up now, because Prue is the one that says it, so. We get exposition time as Piper and Phoebe read from the Book of Shadows. When a witch renounces all human emotions and makes a pact with darkness to protect herself from heartbreak, she becomes a succubus, a sexual predator.
As opposed to an incubus, which is, I guess, the male version, and also a band.
Indeed.
That I did a project on in 6th grade.
Wow.
I was not the one who chose it. My project partner was the one who chose it, because she was really into incubus. And then I listened to some songs, and I was like, okay, I can see it.
Yeah, they're not a bad band.
No,
they're pretty good. Anyway, she seeks out powerful men who become helpless against her magic, then feeds on their testosterone with her razor-sharp tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It's less of a tongue and more of a proboscis, really.
Yeah.
So technically she's an insect?
Magical insect.
Like a vampiric butterfly.
Yeah. Phoebe, of course, is still worried that she's the bad guy, but Prue says that she didn't make a pact with darkness, so it's not her. Piper turns the page in the Book of Shadows to find the spell to attract the succubus, and we learn that they need to destroy it with fire.
Kill it with fire!
Indeed. So apparently now it's a spider.
Yes.
Kill it with fire!
No, there's a musical called Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting. All right. Phoebe, then possibly having flashbacks to her future witch trial self, really doesn't want a flaming death.
Yep.
Because, that would be not a good way to go.
No. But Prue wisely volunteers herself to cast the spell, so that if it turns out to be Phoebe, Piper can freeze the room and they'll figure it out.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're really flying by the seat of their pants. Except none of them are wearing pants, I don't think.
I think Piper was wearing pants.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we get an insert shot of the spell in the book, and then back to Phoebe, who still looks a bit worried. Before we cut to the attic via exterior shot of the manor, showing that time has passed. And drawn on the floor with chalk is the symbol for male, which is a circle with an arrow pointing out, in case you didn't know. Because the symbol for female is a circle with a plus sign pointing out. So along with this chalk-drawn symbol are lit candles. Prue is sitting inside the circle with the Book of Shadows. Prue then speaks the spell, "By the forces of heaven and hell, draw to us this woman fell, rend from her foul desire, that she may perish as a moth to fire." Then the candles light up like Bunsen burners.
Completely covering the screen, and you get this nice in-shot of the fire in front of Phoebe and Piper.
Mm-hmm. And when they die down, Phoebe is unharmed.
And she kind of touches herself like, I'm okay.
Yeah. Piper and Phoebe are both relieved that she's okay. And then we hear Prue with a very deep voice saying that she's not. They turn and they see Prue with ripped clothes, short hair, and a goatee. Piper and Phoebe freak out a bit as our now male Prue touches their face. I'm probably going to use gender-neutral pronouns for our male Prue when I'm not quoting something someone has said, because I don't want to confuse anybody, so it may not happen. I might mix it up, because this is just a confusing thing. This is not a transgender situation. This is a spell.
This is a gender swap situation.
Yeah, so it's odd.
It is very odd, and honestly, I would have just found a male lookalike for Shannon Doherty.
Yeah.
Because that honestly could have worked. It's total fourth wall thing. The only reason I have this is because Shannon didn't want to not play Prue, even if Prue was dude.
Yeah. I don't know. There are so many ways that they could have done this differently. Though I do think it's funny, according to IMDb, to help with her look as a man, Shannon Doherty supplied the makeup artist with a picture of her boyfriend at the time, but we don't know which boyfriend that is.
Mm-hmm. So in the movie Stardust,
okay,
there's the bit where Michelle Pfeiffer, as the witch, turns a boy into a girl.
Okay.
And they found people who looked pretty fucking similar to each other. And I think that was an excellent example of we want this person to not be a man, so we'll find a female equivalent And the only joke resulting from that is when the character finally speaks and it's an extremely low voice, and that tips off the protagonist that shits up. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was funny.
Okay.
Because I think the protagonist asks the girl's name, and she responds with whatever the male name is in a very, like actual male voice. I'm just like, I see what you did there.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've never actually seen that one.
It's fun. It's not terribly, like, true to the book, but Neil Gaiman's talked about that, and he's like, dude, they did pretty good, though. Like, not accurate, but in the spirit of it.
Okay.
It's fun, and I have it.
Gonna be honest, didn't know it was a Neil Gaiman. Now I might actually watch it.
Oh, the book is great, too.
Yeah. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
We don't know who Shannon's boyfriend was at the time.
Yep, not a clue. But
we assume they're not still together.
No, I do not believe that they are.
In Hollywood, that's a safe assumption.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of sad that, but yeah. So then we go to commercial break because, of course we do. When we come back from commercial, we get an exterior shot of the manor. And outside Prue's bedroom, Piper is sitting on the floor with the Book of Shadows, trying to coax our male Prue to come out, because she's apparently been in there for over an hour. But Prue wants her to reverse the spell, but Piper says that the book doesn't say anything about a reversal, so she's probably supposed to stay a man until she attracts the succubus.
And male Prue says they're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. But Piper's like, there's not really a choice, because you need to go to the dating service, since that's where the succubus picks her victims.
Exactly. Phoebe says that she can, and then corrects herself to he can, sign up like the rest of the guys.
Because apparently the guys sign up free for the video or whatever?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But male Prue doesn't want to sign up for anything until Piper reminds them that innocent lives might be at stake here. And
they like, say that they promise
they promise they're not going to laugh. Right.
Of course, the second Prue opens up the door wearing
light blue jeans, a gray t-shirt, and a black v-neck sweater,
which are all apparently from the ex-boyfriend's pile.
Phoebe starts to laugh because she just can't help herself. Male Prue complains about hair in strange places and having a penis before telling Phoebe that it's not funny and closing the door again. Then we get an adorable cute sister moment where Piper whacks Phoebe on the arm, and Phoebe's like, I couldn't help it. I had to laugh. That kind of thing.
Phoebe has zero self-control.
She really does. Piper then reminds Prue that she doesn't have to actually date anyone, and Phoebe chimes in that the sooner you trap the succubus, the sooner you'll become a woman again. And Prue opens the door, says easier said than done, and we cut to them walking down the stairs. Piper and Phoebe are trying to give male Prue advice on how to be a man.
Which is absolutely rich.
Yeah. Piper saying that the walk, the talk, and the handshake are all about confidence, and
they start trying to do the walk first. And Piper's like, okay, well, visualize a man you admire and emulate him.
Yeah.
So when Prue tries it, walking a bit down the hallway and then turning at the end.
It was a very girly turn at the end.
Uh-huh. And Piper's first question is, the man you admire is Richard Simmons?
Yeah, it made Piper and Phoebe laugh, and it made me laugh as well. So, in case you don't know, Richard Simmons is a fitness guru. He was born in 1948, and his birth name is Milton Teagle Simmons. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he took the name Richard from an uncle who paid for his college tuition. It was a lovely gesture and a way to no longer be Milton.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's best known for his workout series Sweating with the Oldies, Sweating to the Oldies, which I actually used to love. It showed actual fat people trying to exercise instead of tiny people who look like they're in perfect shape.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel out of place. Mm-hmm. And it was, oldies music, which it was at the time was like, 50s, 60s, that kind of like poppy stuff from earlier days. And I enjoyed it.
Sometimes when I was bored during gym and all we were doing was walking around the track at the field house, I would impersonate Richard Simmons and do a walk that involved me hyperextending my knees.
Yeah, he did walk kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lots of hip, lots of knee, and arms up.
Yep, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. So, of course, link to his wiki on the website, and I'll see if I can find some videos and maybe put in a link to a playlist or something. It's a lovely workout series. Mm-hmm. Sweating to the Oldies. It's not sweating, it's sweatin'. It's an apostrophe, no G. Anyway, back to the show. The doorbell rings, and Phoebe says that she's going to go through Daryl's files and try to put together a list of attributes that the succubus is attracted to while they answer the door, which of course our male Prue is a bit alarmed by, but Phoebe says it'll be a practice run for the dating service and tells Prue to think of Tom Hanks because everybody loves Tom Hanks.
It's funny that they chose that because you don't really associate Tom Hanks with anything particularly masculine.
Yeah, and you don't think of a walk when you think of Tom Hanks. But you also have to remember this was in 99 when Tom Hanks was like the big guy. Like,
well, no, he was the big guy in the 80s because he was big.
Yeah. Anyway, Phoebe heads toward the kitchen and Prue and Piper answer the door to Dan, who's wearing a dark gray polo shirt that has a little tiny pocket on the sleeve and jeans. Piper is surprised to see him. Now, this is such the episode of Piper being surprised to see people.
Yep.
It's very funny. This is like the fourth time so far.
But apparently Dan's freezer's broken and he's coming over to borrow some ice. So, at least it's not a cup of sugar.
Yep. Though I do think it's very
That'd
interesting
be a bit on the nose.
Yeah, I do think it's very interesting, though, that they just moved in not too long ago and your freezer's already broken? I don't believe you.
Who knows? Maybe, the filter needs replacing or something.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe it's that they have a freezer ice maker, but they don't have any, cube trays.
Yeah, who knows?
Because that happens.
Sure.
Yeah. At work, one of the freezers technically is supposed to have an ice maker that just doesn't work anymore, so we just use trays.
Interesting. So, Piper introduces our male Prue as Manny Hanks.
Yeah.
So now I'll be using Manny Prue or just Manny instead of male Prue. Dan shakes Manny's hand and Phoebe screams from the kitchen for Piper. So Piper goes to leave, which Manny is not excited about, but Piper reminds them that Dan is a good man. And she goes to the kitchen.
Why was that necessary?
Because I think it was a trying
good
to
man
say...
to
emulate.
Yourself off of.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And anyway, Danny and Manny have this nice awkward conversation wherein Dan's like, dude, you look familiar.
Yeah.
I'm the brother they never had.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And then we cut to the kitchen, and now Piper's shirt looks white instead of pale pink, which is odd. And Phoebe is explaining that she's had yet another succubus vision, and that she's in heat, which is why she has a fever.
And that's how we would title the episode.
Yep. She says that she has no control over it, just as she gets another flash, which we can tell by her getting all blurry. And they do this, push in, pull out thing on her.
Like a heartbeat.
Yeah. And then we see some images in red where...
of a woman caressing some giant they look like giant testicles.
Yeah.
Covered in spider webs.
Yeah.
They're, I guess, egg sacs.
It does
and
not
they're in
seem
some
like a
kind
good
of
thing.
wardrobe or some shit.
Yeah, they're in some sort of cabinet typey thing.
And we can see the woman's got some nails.
Yeah, she's petting the egg sacs, which is
Creepy.
Would be an even better title for this episode than She's a Man, Baby, a Man. Anyway, we cut back to the foyer, and Dan is asking about Piper, and Manny is trying to copy Dan's moves.
Very unsubtly.
Yeah, and it's a bit awkward to watch, and they do that for a moment as they chat about random stuff.
And I think Manny tries to make a passing comment about sports.
Yeah, how about the Niners?
Yeah. And that's where it cuts away to show Piper and Phoebe walking back in.
Yep. And Piper gives Dan his ice, tells him to say hi to Jenny for them, and sends him on his way before asking Manny how it went.
And the answer is not well.
Optimistic. Yeah, not optimistic about the chances of finishing this, of doing this, of being a man.
Yes.
Yeah.
A Manny.
Indeed.
Anyway,
so then we cut over to the exterior of Fine Romance, and inside we have Manny doing the videotape.
Manny's wearing this black leather jacket over the ex-boyfriend outfit from earlier. So I guess ex-boyfriends include black leather jackets that got left there?
Apparently.
Because it's a big jacket too. That's not something the girls would wear.
Yeah. It was definitely a male cut jacket. Yeah.
Not even a very well male cut jacket.
Yeah.
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 Whatever.
So, whatever. The woman taking the video is wearing a cream-colored plaid suit and gold jewelry. It was a very pale cream plaid suit. It was an odd choice.
Yeah.
And her hair is pulled up in like a chignon or whatever.
Yeah. And Manny is trying to do the what do I want in a woman sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually working out kind of well, because in trying to translate Prue's feelings into how would a dude say this, it actually doesn't translate. So Manny just ends up saying what Prue would want.
Yep.
Just changing the pronouns.
Yeah.
And ends up, I think the camera kind of pushes in a little bit as this goes, very slowly, not like annoyingly so as this show tends to do.
Yep.
And I think the line that really gets the cream soup lad lady is the, like, whatever the last one Manny says, and she's like,
yeah,
oh,
she said
really
something about she wants someone who respects themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cream pad suit lady is like, you're really in touch with your feminine side.
Yeah. To which Manny replies, you have no idea.
And we get to the reception desk where Phoebe and Piper are.
Yep. Piper is now in a dark red cami top with a dark red necklace and a headband in her hair. And Phoebe is in a purple scoop neck top with sleeves that go to the elbows and a lacy flower pattern on the arms and bust. And she has a single stone necklace, which is not the turquoise one from earlier. It's a different type. And she's carrying a dark red purse that would go better with Piper's outfit, but whatever. And her hair is pulled back into a braided bun at the base of her neck. It's actually really cute. We don't see the lower half of either of their outfits yet, so I'll get there when we do. Phoebe is asking at reception, asking Darla about Owen, and we learn that he's a doctor. Ooh. She asks for a way to get in touch with him, and Darla says that she can join for $3,500 and view his tape. And I wanted to punch her in the face.
Yeah, which is exactly what Paul F. Tompkins does every episode of Spontaneation, where he's like, are you curious as to who the previous episode's guest was? Well, then I will direct you and the listener to the archives at howl.fm. Hours of listening pleasure await you for a modest subscription fee.
Indeed. Hashtag not sponsored.
Oh, I wish we were sponsored by
That'd be
Spontaneation.
amazing. I love me some Paul F. Tompkins. Though I will admit, I can't actually listen to Spontaneation very much.
I have found putting it on 1.5 speed
Makes
not
it
only
better?
makes it go faster, it makes it funnier.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll
Because, like, PFT already is a very quick speaker, like my kind of speed. And so making it go faster just really amps up the humor.
Yeah.
And, like, the comedic timing is quicker, but it fit, like, normally if people go too fast, you can't catch up. But honestly, this way it just makes it a little, like, okay. So when I was doing a bass retreat years ago, it happens every like Easter weekend up in Madison, and the guy who was running it was my judge for like workshopping our solos one year, and I was doing something called scherzo. I forget who it's by, but scherzo means joke.
Okay.
And so he's like, oh, well, you're not having a lot of fun, so here's this. Play it as fast as you possibly can. And I got about 3 measures in before I cracked up.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what doing that reminds me of.
There you go.
Making it faster makes it funnier.
Nice. See, for me, I think it's interesting because I watch like 90% of the YouTube videos that I watch them on 2 speed. Yeah, on double speed.
Honestly, the double speed I'm trying to get used to on the podcast thing. Like, I only do it when I have a lot of the stuff to get through. Because the other thing it makes really funny are the theme songs.
Yeah.
Because some songs, when you speed it up, the vibrato also speeds up, and then it sounds unnatural.
Yeah.
And hilarious. So listening to, like, Gilmore Guys, when they do the songs, instead of the vibrato being normal and unnoticeable, it kind of turns into this, like, thing. It's really cute.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's funny because I've watching videos on double speed. Sometimes I won't turn on double speed, and it just seems like everything's in slow motion.
Yeah.
Or, like, I'll be watching, like, a lot of videos, one right after the other, all at double speed, and then I'll be like, okay, I'll watch a TV show and be like, God, I wish I could put this on double speed.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think that's the worst part. Like, I wish that TV came with double speed. Because it would make my life so much easier to be like, I have a half an hour show.
Or DVDs.
Yeah. Like, I have a half an hour show, but I only have 15 minutes. If I could put it on double speed, I could do that. Like, I watched Hannah Hart had a live video that she put up where she was trying to put together a Swiss Army knife. It was adorable. It was 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Oh, man.
And I watched it on double speed. So I got it watched in just over an hour. And I was like, see, that I can do. Like, I couldn't sit there for 2 hours and 18 minutes and watch her put together this Swiss Army knife. But I could sit there for just over an hour and watch it and be okay with that. And then I went from that to watching other things and was like, oh crap, this is so slow.
So Phoebe gets Piper's attention, and then Piper freezes the room while Phoebe snatches Dr. Owen's file.
Yeah.
And then they see Dan's file, and they didn't know he had a file.
Yeah.
So she mentions it to Piper.
And of course she's interested in seeing it, so Piper hands her Dan's file, and they leave with both of them. And it is blatantly obvious that the files are missing from the shelf, but allow convenience that they get away with it, because they are huge binders on the shelf. Yep. And the entire shelf was full, and now 2 of them are missing.
Yeah.
While Darla was looking at the shelf, 2 of them went missing.
Yeah.
And then they disappeared. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. So outside Fine Romance, we see some women walking in, and then we hear a camera click, and the images go still in gray.
So we know we're with Shitty Smitty while he's taking pities. As in pictures.
Taking pities? That's a new one. Anyway.
I wanted everything to rhyme.
I like it. So Smith says yet another sexist thing, and Daryl tries to shut him up again.
But Smitty is so shitty that he's like,
it's so hot out here. I'm going to go do a little investigating inside. Daryl, of course, tries to stop him, but it doesn't work, and they both get out of the car.
I'm pretty sure Daryl outranks him.
Oh, yeah. I'm fairly certain as well.
And he will bust your rank.
Yeah. Oh, man. Makes me miss the days of Andy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But only kind of.
I will take Andy over Shitty Smitty any day.
Yes, absolutely. So, back inside Fine Romance, Piper is looking at Dan's file, flipping through the pages, and we can now see that Phoebe's hair is actually multiple braids held together with a bun cover that has like a little silver pin pattern. It was an interesting look. I totally would have worn that in the 90s, and if I could pull it off, I'd wear it now.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot.
And we find out why the binders are so big. It's because they have the VHSs in them.
Yep. It's got like the little profile on pages, and then a VHS tape, which is so 90s. So Phoebe is worried that they're too late, but Piper reminds her that she'd have gotten a psychic flash, and she hasn't. And then Phoebe spots Owen, who is now wearing a dark red button-down shirt, black pants, and a black suit jacket, and says that she should take him to the manor to keep him safe. But Piper shuts her down, saying she should stay there, and that she's going to go back to the video area and check up on Prue. And as she stands, we get a glimpse of the pinkish red skirt that Piper is wearing and the dark purple skirt that Phoebe has on. Phoebe reminds her not to forget Dan's tape and holds it out for her, and she grabs it and leaves. And we get another shot of Owen, and then Phoebe gets up and heads over to him. They exchange hellos, and then we go back to the video area where Manny has finished up their video, and the cream-plaid lady is assuring him that dates could happen as soon as tomorrow. Ooh. And then in a different part of the office, we see Piper has now popped in Dan's tape and is watching it while biting her pinky. It was adorable.
Mm-hmm. And apparently we learn that Dan's sister is the one who paid for him to join the dating service, which makes sense because I guess she and her husband both work for the State Department, so they're rolling in it.
Well, who knows?
Well, they work in Saudi Arabia, so...
Yep. So while watching the video, we keep cutting back and forth to Piper. Well, she's looking like she's going to blush. And he's saying that he's looking for the girl next door.
How convenient.
Yep. And she realizes that he's talking about her right down to the long dark hair. And we end on a shot of Piper smiling. Back at the mixer, we see a bunch of people standing around and chatting. And then we pan over to Phoebe and Owen on a couch. He, of course, asks if she wants to go somewhere else, but she shuts him down and mentions the heat, and then she fans herself with her purse, which is kind of funny.
And he offers to go get a drink.
Yeah, she says okay, and he gets up and walks away. Now, why she let him out of her sight is questionable, but a la convenience, what can you do?
Well, she doesn't think she's letting him out of the place, and he's going to be right back, so I get that.
She gets a new flash showing the sign for the mixer in our lovely red blood bubble thing.
Our blood-colored glasses.
Yes. And people standing around a table. And so she gets up, freaked out, and she's calling for Piper. And she finds Owen first and tells him that they need to leave, but then has him wait by the punch bowl for a moment, being like, don't leave my sight. And then she goes and finds Piper and tells her about the flash. And Piper tells her to get Owen out of there. So she starts heading over to Owen at the table, but Smith grabs her wrist.
And Smitty has added a dark suit jacket to his cream shirt and dark orange tie.
Yep.
And nothing would look good on him because he's that shitty.
Indeed.
He shows his badge and he says he wants to talk to her in private.
Yeah. And she gets another
Hot flash.
Yeah, flash of something, but we don't see what that is.
We should just call them hot flashes.
Well, but it's not exactly a hot flash. It's like a
but
vision
in context
flash.
It makes sense.
Yeah, but it's a vision flash.
Yeah, but she's hot.
Indeed.
Literally.
But Daryl shows up just then and gets Smith to let her go. So Phoebe then notices Manny has walked into the room and calls out saying, "It's Owen, take him out fast." Which Manny does by punching Owen.
Of course.
Piper comes over to question Manny, and then Smith comes over to arrest them.
And Manny punches Smitty, which made me very happy.
Yep, and he goes flying into a table, and we can see the tug line that's pulling him back. It was very funny. And then Daryl arrests Manny and tells Smith to get up and cuff the other one. And so he gets up and cuffs Owen, which I personally think is stupid, because why are you cuffing the guy that got hit?
Yeah.
Like, what? But
Smitty is shitty at his job.
no, because Daryl's the one that told him to do it.
True.
So, can't blame Smitty on that one.
Whatever.
Piper is realizing how bad this all is, and then Phoebe gets a flash where we see in red Daryl taking Manny away. Phoebe tells Piper that the succubus isn't attracted to Owen anymore because now she's attracted to Prue.
And Piper says, perfect.
Yep, and then we go to commercial break.
Yoo-hoo!
Yoo-hoo! And when we come back from commercial, we get an exterior shot of the police station, and Daryl seems upset that Piper and Phoebe want him to release Manny, but girls tell him that Manny is the reason that no one's died so far that night. Daryl, of course, then assumes that they also want Dr. Owen to be released, but they say that he's still a potential victim, so he can stay in jail where he's safe. Daryl is skeptical and says it's going to bite him in the ass, but he grabs his keys and walks off. And then we get an exterior shot of the manor the next morning, because time cuts are a lovely thing they like to do. Manny now comes into the room wearing black pants and a light gray long sleeve shirt over a white t-shirt and a tool belt, which maybe Leo left behind,
I guess.
And is mentioning that all men ever seem to think about is sex.
Of course.
And
here's where we get into the men and women are different thing.
Oh, yeah. So Phoebe is sitting on the big chair. She's wearing a flower-patterned dress with a thermometer in her mouth again, and she is struggling to open a jar of pickles.
Because of course.
Yeah.
That leaves an opening for Manny to walk over and open the jar for her.
Yep, easily does so as well. Phoebe then asks if the air conditioning was fixed, and Manny's like, yeah, it was an easy fix, just had to clean the filter.
And I am rolling my eyes into eternity.
Yeah, I literally wrote in my notes, gotta love the stereotyping, right? Grumble, grumble, grumble.
And ever twirling, twirling, twirling toward freedom. Twirling my eyes.
Yeah. Piper then walks in wearing a bright pink cami top and gray pants, saying that Alan just called wanting to ask Prue on another date. And Piper covered for Prue with Alan, saying that she was feeling a bit hormonal. I thought was kind of funny. And we hear that Phoebe's fever is up to 102 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 39.17 Celsius.
Which is probably normal for a succubus, they think.
Yeah. It was actually 39.16 repeating Celsius.
Yeah, that's rounding up.
But, I rounded up. Piper is still trying to get Phoebe to go to the doctor, but Phoebe tells her that it's just a connection with the succubus, and it's getting stronger because she needs to kill.
So
and then she eats a pickle. Yeah, it was funny. Manny has a plan. The dating service called because the video broke some sort of house record with 20 hits.
No. That cannot be a house record.
Yeah, so he made dates with all of them to go to P3 that night. Piper is, of course, worried because the Cranberries are coming in for a sound check and she doesn't want to scare them away, which I think is very funny. But, that's also very Piper. It's like, this is only the second band I've ever had.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be the not second band, all right?
I don't want it to be the last.
Yeah. Manny says that it's not a problem, and this upsets Piper because Manny is a stereotypical man and she doesn't like it, and neither do I.
No one likes it.
Yeah. She tells Manny that Dan is a real man because he's honest and kind and not a bully, and it was this whole long speech thing, and then she leaves after her metaphorical mic drop. You should really watch the episode to get a full effect of this scene.
Yeah.
Because it's just beautiful. And then Manny and Phoebe look out the window and they see Dan, and Phoebe remarks on his nice body and great tan, and Manny says, awesome truck.
Yeah.
Gotta love those stereotypes.
Yeah, and I love how they conflated gender with sexuality.
Yeah, well, that's a topic for another day when I am not so annoyed.
Yes, because of course, if it changes Prue into a man, it must also change her attraction to being toward women. Which then, of course, changes her entire personality. Meh! Like, I can kind of see justification for just being a little more, like, aggro, but only a little. Like, it's not going to change much. It's just like, oh, now instead of you have a bunch of estrogen, you have a bunch of testosterone, so that's going to affect you differently. But that's it. You have slightly different hormones. That's it.
Yeah. Like I said, we're going to not.
Yeah.
Because that could be a podcast in and of itself.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Outside P3, in a car, Smith and Daryl are hanging out. Smith is checking his black eye in the mirror, upset that Daryl let Manny go, and Daryl just wants this case to be over so he can have Smith reassigned.
As do we all.
Indeed. We are all waiting patiently for Smith to not be here anymore.
Yeah, Smitty, stop being so shitty.
Yeah. Then we get a quick exterior shot of P3. This is where we see that the new P3 sign on the wall isn't actually neon like I thought it was earlier.
It's just super iridescent and glittery and shit.
Yeah. Though it was lit up by a bright overhead light, so that's why it looked kind of neon-esque from far away. It's also backwards colored from the neon sign. In the neon sign, the P is blue and the 3 is purple, and in the glittery sign, the P is a purplish pink and the 3 is a bluish green.
Nice.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Inside, we see Piper and Phoebe walking through a crowd of people. Piper is now in a dark red top, which is possibly a dress, with 1-inch straps, and a thin white necklace, and her hair is pulled back into a twisty braid thing with clips. It was kind of cute. And Phoebe is in a very sexy black bustier style top, which is also possibly a dress, because we don't see the bottom halves of their outfits. This has spaghetti straps and red stripes up the torso and a red bow between the boobs, with a red beaded necklace, and her hair is pulled into a high braided bun. Phoebe is hoping that the succubus gets there fast, and Piper goes over the plan wherein Manny lures the succubus into the alley, Piper freezes her, and then Manny uses testosterone-charged powers to fend her off until she bursts into flames.
So naturally, because the plan is so simple, you know it's gonna fuck up.
Exactly.
Royally.
Yes. Phoebe sees Manny, who is now wearing a white t-shirt under a blue-colored button-down shirt and a black jacket. Now, where this outfit came from, how many ex-boyfriend clothes do they really have in that pile?
How many ex-boyfriends do they have?
Just saying. And then we have a moment where a woman wearing very tight pants walks past them, and we follow Manny's eyes to the butt, and then we follow the butt. And we have a cute sister moment between Phoebe and Piper, where Phoebe asks if Manny just checked out that girl's butt. Piper thinks it's starting to get weird.
And Phoebe's like, starting to get weird? Where you been?
Yeah, it was very funny. I enjoyed it immensely. So then we cut to Manny sitting at the bar when Alan sits down nearby. And since Alan doesn't recognize Manny as Prue, we have a lovely little conversation where Manny is trying to figure out what Alan really wants by saying that he works with Prue at Buckland's. Now, doesn't Alan work at Buckland's?
Yeah.
You'd think that he'd have a clue of who else works in the building.
I guess maybe Alan doesn't work in the exact same area as Prue.
Maybe.
Which is why they've only met and started dating now.
Maybe. After a few minutes of this chatting, we learn that Alan really does seem to like Prue and is worried that he's scared her off. And then we cut over to Piper and Phoebe on the other side of the bar. And now we can see that Piper's outfit is just a top. She has paired it with dark red pants. But we still can't tell if Phoebe's outfit is a dress or not. The girls are trying to keep track of where Manny is when Phoebe gets a flash where we see, again in red, people in the club. And Phoebe says to Piper that the succubus is in the club and has seen Manny, and then they spot a woman, the woman that was in the cream plaid suit from earlier, who is now in a red dress with her hair down. And then we cut back over to Alan and Manny at the bar because you can't stay in one place too long.
Nope. And Alan's talking about how confusing the rules of dating are. And Manny's phone rings.
And we see that Piper has called Manny from the bar phone on the other side of the bar. And Piper tells her that Jan from the dating service is in a red dress and that Manny needs to go to the alley. And so Manny says goodbye to Alan, who waves, which was kind of adorable. And Manny heads toward the back to go to the alley. So now that she has a Name, I can actually tell you about her. Jan is played by Georgia Emmelin. Yeah. She only has really done single episodes of TV shows or TV movies. She started acting in 1988, and her last role was in 2000.
So the year after this.
Yep. Not much to know about her. So back to the show. Back on the other side of the club, Phoebe finds Jan and awkwardly says hi to her before she gets another flash where we see Manny in red. And then she stops, looks at Jan right in the eyes and goes, "It's not you." And then runs away, leaving Jan confused.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, all right. And then we cut over to the alley of the club where we see Manny standing there as Darla comes walking out in a short white dress. Darla says hello, and Manny tries to use their power but can't, which freaks him out. And then Darla decides to go and do her succubus thing.
She says, "Tell me I'm irresistible."
And Manny does. And then she starts to pop out that razor-sharp tongue. When Piper and Phoebe show up, Piper cries out and freezes her. And for some reason, we see Daryl and Smith getting out of their car and running away.
Mm-hmm. Piper asks Manny why the telekinesis didn't work, and Manny's like, "Well, I tried to use it, but it wouldn't work."
Yep.
And then there's a joke about impotence, as you do.
Yeah.
Before Darla unfreezes, turns around and starts running.
Yeah, so that was a very short freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's up with that. It was an a la convenience thing is the only thing that makes sense, because just as she starts running, Smith and Daryl show up. Smith tells her to freeze, and the succubus Darla throws him into a pile of, a la convenience, empty boxes.
Daryl yells, "Stop or I'll shoot."
Yeah.
So she sticks out her tongue, and he shoots her.
Yep. She falls over, and we get an insert shot of the Charmed Ones in the background, which we can now see that Phoebe's outfit is actually a top and a black skirt. And then we cut back to Daryl, who checks for a pulse, says that she's dead, and asks if the girls are okay. Piper says, "I think so," and Mandy wonders why he's still a man.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Then we, again, push in on the doors of the coroner's office. I'm pretty sure we've seen this shop before.
We have indeed, but we have a new coroner. I still feel bad for the last guy, and now I feel bad for this guy too. Mm-hmm. This coroner is played by Jameson Yang. He has been acting since 1996 and has mostly done single episodes of shows, but he's still a working actor. So our coroner, who doesn't get a name, but
he's just Mr. Coroner.
Yeah, he's
Dr.
just the coroner.
Coroner.
Dr. Coroner. So I'm having like comic book flashbacks. Dr. Coroner.
That's reminding me of the SNL skit that's set in the Old South, like during the Civil War, where there's a colonel named Angus, and with the accent, it sounds like Colonel Angus.
Nice.
And there's a lot of jokes involving Colonel Angus.
I'm sure there would be.
It's one of the good ones.
Which with SNL, good is few and far between. They've gone downhill since the 80s.
Well, yeah, but when they hit good, they really hit good. Yeah. Like, all of the 2016 presidential debates were pretty fucking good.
Yeah. Let's not talk politics, I'll cry.
You haven't cried before when we've talked about it here.
Oh, but that's because I had hope. Now there is no hope.
Pretty sure we talked about something else earlier and you didn't cry.
I cried internally.
They said I was bleeding internally. That's where the blood's supposed to be.
Yeah. Anyway, so our coroner is putting a white sheet over Darla's head, and Smith is there, and he's telling Smith that while toxicology takes a week, the preliminary blood work showed that she had high levels of testosterone.
And Smitty asks, "Oh, that's possible."
Yeah.
And the coroner's like, we won't know until the autopsy, but we
they
think we
won't know
got
for
the killer
certain.
we've been looking for.
Indeed.
And Smitty says he thinks something weird about it, and then he calls her a babe.
Yeah, and the coroner leaves with a smirk that kind of says, "You're a sleazebag, and I hope you leave soon."
And I'm so glad that the coroner leaves, because when Smitty goes over to the body and lifts the sheet, Darla sucks him dry.
Yep, she opens her eyes, sticks out her badly CGI tongue, and kills Smith. I'd say, poor Smith, we hardly knew you, but I didn't like him very much, so
we
fuck
knew you
Smith.
too well.
Yeah, we knew you as a douche. A douche canoe, if you will.
Oh, yes, we will.
Yeah. So then we get an exterior shot of the manor, which brings us to the attic. Piper is sitting looking at the Book of Shadows, and Manny is pacing. They're trying to figure out what went wrong, and then Piper looks out the window, and Manny takes that moment to give some advice about men.
Ugh.
Yeah. Phoebe then runs in, saying that the succubus is still alive and has killed again. And they're trying to figure out what to do next. And then we get the, I gotta go take a leak, don't forget to put the seat down jokes that no one needed. And Manny walks out, and a moment later, Phoebe gets a new flash, where we see, in red, Manny in the bathroom at the manor, and Darla coming out from behind the shower curtain. Now, didn't they have a glass shower door upstairs, or did they remodel after Prue almost drowned?
Don't know.
'Cause that was...
No, they definitely still have that thing, because it features in one of the last episodes of season 2.
Okay, all I remember is looking at that going, there wasn't a shower curtain in that bathroom. There was a glass shower door.
Well, no, they keep switching between it because they've got the shower and they've got the bathtub. And Prue's almost drowned in the bathtub before, too.
Oh, I forgot about the bathtub. Okay, that makes sense then.
Kind of, except when the first time we saw the bathtub, it didn't have a curtain. So, I don't know. The set designers keep fucking with us.
Yeah. It's almost like they didn't have a continuity master or anything.
Yeah. But anyway. Darla's in the bathtub. And abducts Manny.
Phoebe tells Piper that the succubus is inside the house. They hear something like a noise of something breaking. And we cut to the bathroom where, for some reason, Piper knocks on the door before opening it. She walks in looking like down at the ground and then looking to the left. And she's like, where's Manny? Like, where's Prue? And then looks up and to the right and notices the broken window, which does not count toward the furniture annihilation quotient because windows are not furniture.
Correct.
Yeah. But it was an a la convenience moment that she walked in and didn't immediately see the window.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was no reason why she wouldn't have immediately seen the window upon walking into that room.
Very true, very true.
Yeah. So then we get an exterior shot of 2 high-rise buildings that I think may have been used before, but I really can't remember for sure, as like somebody else's place.
Yeah.
But who knows? I honestly don't know. If I've taken a picture of it before, you'll notice it when you look at the website, because that's where all the pictures will be. Indeed. In the lovely gallery setting that I have it on now. I can put in a batch as a gallery. Ooh. I can't comment on any of the pictures, but I can at least put up a shit ton of them.
Nice.
I found that out when I was doing the pictures for 201 because there were 100 pictures. So, somewhere in this building is Darla's place, and we see a wardrobe with the egg things hanging in it, little egg sacs, and then she walks into view wearing a black negligee with a black sheer robe thing over top. Mm-hmm. We see Manny on the bed, and then Darla climbs onto the bed with her. Him, them, pronouns. It's a confusing
Pronouncing things incorrectly. It's a great series of vines y'all should watch.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Booty quay. Papa, yeah. Bananas. And looks at the durian fruit and goes, huh?
Anyway. They have a little exchange of the I'm irresistible thing again, and then we cut back to the attic with no establishing shot. Phoebe is connected again and can tell that Prue is alive and in the same place as the other victims were, but she doesn't know where that is. And so she deflates a little when she thinks that she's going to have to watch and feel Prue getting killed without being able to do anything. But Piper has an idea.
But wait, Phoebe!
Yeah. Because Phoebe is connected to the succubus, then that means that the succubus is connected to her.
Transitive property!
So, she should be able to reverse the psychic connection and project back to the succubus to help Prue resist her.
Ha 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 ha! So we are brought into Phoebe's flash, and we see the succubus doing her succu thing, and Piper tells Phoebe to talk through the succubus. Mm-hmm. So, reverse the polarity on the connection.
Indeed.
And so we go into Phoebe's flash again, and Phoebe talks, and then is overlaid by
every time
Darla.
Phoebe talks, she's, like, overlaid in view, so we have this, like, weird, like, shadow kind of thing viewing of Phoebe. It's weird. And then this is where it gets a little confusing.
A little bit. Not much, but a little.
Yeah. So Phoebe uses her connection with the succubus to get Prue to realize that she's a woman instead of a man, and she can resist the succubus because only a man is powerless against the succubus. Mm-hmm. So Manny gets the message and doesn't just resist the succubus, but rejects the succubus.
Yes. Yeah,
and then we get...
This is actually a little funny to me, because you have Phoebe basically doing the opposite of what the succubus normally does.
Right.
And she's like, tell me you're not a man, you're a woman. And the succubus gets progressively more confused.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know she's connected to Phoebe.
Right.
She has zero idea. So she just is like, why am I saying these things? And she kind of like sits up all confused, and she's like, what's going on?
Yeah. So then the red of the vision fades, and we are with Manny and Darla in Darla's place. And Darla is upset, saying, I'm irresistible. And Prue has a lovely little line, or Manny Prue has a lovely little line of, not to me you're not, you bitch. And then a flick of the hand, and Manny Prue uses their power against the succubus, and she goes flying into the wardrobe with the egg thingies. And then candles fall over, and there's like a line of goo on the ground that's there for some a la convenience reason,
And
that gets lit up.
A la convenience is highly flammable.
Yep. Gets lit up by the fire from the candles, and that fire makes its way all the way up the goo to our succubus, who is covered in goo, which is, the flame stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah. And she goes up in flames, and she screams, and then with a burst of fire, both Darla, our succubus, and the eggs disappear. And Manny turns back into Prue again, and we have the best moment. I want to see if I can find a gif of it. I don't know if I'll be able to, but there will at least be pictures on the website where she touches her hair and is happy, like it's a smile on her face because her hair is long again. And then she grabs her boobs and jiggles them while smiling. It was hilarious and adorable.
And somehow she's wearing a bra.
Yeah,
It looks like she's actually wearing a bra, because she's wearing, like, clothing. And, normally, I mean, you can tell when someone with boobs large enough is or is not wearing a bra.
Yeah. But it was just very funny.
She just kind of, like, pushes in her chest, and she's like, ooh, yeah.
Like, yes, my boobs are back. Yeah.
And then she kind of tousles her hair.
Yeah. Manny is no
cute.
more, and he will not be missed.
And the shirt, which is now impossibly large.
Yep. Back at the manor, Phoebe looks much less sweaty, and assures Piper that she and Prue are both fine, and that the succubus is dead. And then we cut over to P3, where we have a lovely exterior shot, where the new P3 sign is now missing, but the now appearing sign isn't there either. Just saying. We will have to see, comparing shots from last week's episode and this week's episode, to see if the crowd shots are the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Nah.
Because at time of recording, I have not taken pictures.
No, you have not.
Nope. So, inside, we get an insert shot of a now appearing board that shows the Cranberries' Bury the Hatchet, which was their 4th studio album, for anyone wondering. And then a few people walk past the sign, and we see Prue coming down the stairs in silver strappy heels and a low-cut black dress with that diamond necklace. Phoebe and Piper come up to her. Phoebe is in a red top with black pants that have a flower pattern on them, and the turquoise necklace that she had on earlier, as well as another necklace, and a bracelet on her upper arm, like a wraparound cuff thing on her upper arm, and flowers in her hair. Piper is in a purplish blue dress with black straps that look like it might be 2 pieces, like a top and a skirt. And she has on a necklace and some bracelets, and her hair is in a low ponytail. They then have a cute sister moment where they comment about Prue being her own heat wave because she's so hot, and they start fanning at her with their hands.
Ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, it was adorable. Prue, of course, is just grateful to be back in heels, and Phoebe says that she definitely has that walk down, which I thought was a cute little moment. Prue then mentions that she has a date with Alan because they just had a little gender confusion, and that people just need to communicate honestly.
Which is true, but gender confusion is not what you had. Communication problem is what you had, and you conflated with the fact that you think men and women somehow have different languages.
Well,
no, they have different conditioning. They do not have different languages. If they
Yeah.
both use just plain fucking English, or whatever your native language is, you can communicate properly.
but you
just
actually
not make
have to
assumptions.
communicate.
Yes, yes.
That's the biggest thing. So, yeah. People just need to communicate honestly is
You know what they say
a very
when
good
you assume
thing.
things
Indeed.
that you shouldn't.
Yep.
Jokes.
I love it. All right. Piper seems to have taken this to heart because she has called Dan after getting some good advice from the brother she never had. Dan is then seen walking through the crowd wearing a black top, but we can't really see any more detail than that.
Yes, Blue?
Oh, boomers. I don't know if that came through on
I hope it did.
audio, but that was an adorable little snore. So Piper goes to meet Dan, and then Prue turns to Phoebe, who sees Owen wearing a brown button-down shirt that seems a bit big on him, and black pants, and she says that she has an appointment with a doctor because she's still running a bit hot. And she goes over to meet him. And it's really funny because Prue's like, oh yeah, I saw him wink at you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was adorable. And then a man comes up on stage to announce the band. Now, this actor is Ralph Garman, and according to IMDb, he was actually in the last episode as well, but I apparently missed him in the whole Dishwalla confusion.
Yeah, I guess he's playing the DJ or some shit.
Yeah, but according to IMDb, he was only in last episode and this one as the DJ. So who knows what happens to him after that. So Ralph Garman was born in 1964. He started acting in 1987. And he's mostly done single episodes of TV shows and a couple of TV movies, but he did have a 9-episode run on NYPD Blue and 2 separate parts, a total of 19 episodes on The Joe Schmo Show. The first 9 were aired in 2004, and the last 10 were in 2013. So there's that. His biggest gig has actually been doing voice parts on Family Guy. He's been doing that since 2001.
Mm-hmm. And apparently has a TV series, a TV movie, and a big screen movie all coming out sometime in the near future.
Yep, so he is still a working actor. The TV series is just announced as happening. It is called Mallbrats, which is a small screen sequel to Kevin Smith's movie Mallrats.
And I believe it stars his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter.
I don't know.
I want to say, maybe that's something else I'm thinking of.
Don't know. The TV movie is in post-production, and it's called Hollyweed.
Of course.
The IMDb summary on that is, 2 potheads battle a neighboring cookie magnate, played by and enlist the help of a charming porn star to help them navigate the ups and downs of managing a small business in their quest for profits and the perfect bud. Now, I don't know what happened here.
No, I
played
don't know.
by and enlist.
But
I don't
also,
know.
Hollyweed was the first meme of 2017. Because
Oh,
that's
was
what
it?
people edited the Hollywood sign to say.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very small alteration, too. They basically hung a sheet over the middle of the O and then somehow blacked out, like, a section of the side, so it turned from an O into an E.
Interesting.
It was hilarious.
Nice. Sounds fun. The movie that is also in post-production is called Once Upon a Time in Venice.
Is that like a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
No idea. The summary for that is a Los Angeles detective seeks out the ruthless gang that stole his dog.
Ooh, and stars Jason Momoa, Bruce Willis, Famke Janssen, and John Goodman?
Yep, just to name a few. Yep. So, a quick personal stuff that I learned about Ralph. He, along with Adam West's daughter, ensured that Adam West finally got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Woo!
Yep. And he does a podcast with Kevin Smith called Hollywood Babble On.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Indeed. So back to the show. He introduces the band. They start playing Just My Imagination, which is also a lovely song. That was the 3rd single off that album. And Piper and Dan have a nice little exchange before heading out to the dance floor where they join Phoebe and Owen. And then we get a few shots of the band, and we see Alan making his way through the crowd, wearing a dark gray shirt with a dark red tie and a tan suit jacket. And then he and Prue have a nice little moment before they head to the dance floor, and we see the girls dancing with their guys intercut with shots of the band before we head to the end credits.
Mm-hmm. And a very nice, fun ending.
Yeah, it was a lovely end to a not-so-great episode.
Yeah.
So, on that note, we are now done with that episode. So we are on to our ratings.
Mm-hmm. I'll go first because you went first last time.
Okay.
6.5 piles of ex-boyfriend clothing.
Nice. So you gave it a 6.5 out of 10, which was 0.5 more than me. I gave it a 6 out of 10 stupid stereotypes. Because the moment with Prue grabbing her boobs after turning back into herself gave this episode an extra point. And so did the Cranberries being in this one, because I used to listen to them all the time, and so it gave me lovely memories of hearing them again. And I didn't hate this episode as much as I thought I was going to, but the stereotyping that happened annoyed me. But it did kind of work for what it was meant to do in this episode. But yeah, so it was gonna be a 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then Prue gave it an extra, and the Cranberries gave it an extra. So Yeah. So that's our ratings done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I still liked it better than the episode that must not be named.
Yes.
From season 1.
It's a hell of a lot better.
Indeed. Now that our ratings are done, we're on to the outfits.
Mm-hmm.
What outfit did you like?
An excellent question.
Well, for me, I liked all of their final outfits best. With an honorable mention for Manny with the blue button-down shirt
Yeah, I think
outfit.
I'm going to have to go with you on that. Because I really liked female Prue in the oversized shirt just doing the boob thing.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, for all of them, I liked their final outfits the best. Like, they looked the most comfortable in those final outfits. And I liked them. But that's us done for another week.
And now, as we hear the water running, it is time to plug.
Yeah. So,
you can find us at charmedchats.com.
As per usual, that's where you will find all of the links and pictures and whatever else I decide to put up there.
You can email us at charmedchats@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the easiest way to contact us. We apparently got an anonymous Tumblr message today.
Yeah.
We got recently.
We got an anonymous Tumblr message asking if we had a podcast on iTunes.
Well, not just that. It said, do you really have a podcast on iTunes? And I was going to reply snarkily, but you toned it down.
Of course I did.
Well, I wasn't that snarky.
I
was
toned down
just
the snark.
being glib.
Yeah. I toned down the glib as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who asked it because it was anonymous, and that's perfectly fine.
It just seemed a little confrontational.
It was a little odd, and it's one of those where, like, I don't know
They probably just saw
said
the
it.
title of the blog, and they're like, oh, it says pod, they must be a podcast. And so they're like, do you really have one? But, like, I mean, granted, we don't exactly post the episodes on Tumblr, which we could probably stand to do more.
Well, I post when they're up.
But it was just one of those things like, let me Google that for you.
Yeah, a little bit. Speaking of Tumblr, you can find us at charmchatspod.tumblr.com, as well as charmchatspod on Twitter. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. That is all Charmed Chats.
Yes.
Is that everything? I think that's everything.
I think that is. We have a Pinterest that we never touch.
We do have a Pinterest.
Well, I certainly never touch it. You
Yeah.
occasionally do.
I occasionally do, but Pinterest isn't exactly,
Yeah.
a thing for us.
If it's a thing for you, power to you.
Indeed. All right. So that's us done for another week.
Mm-hmm.
So until next time.
Sleep tight and don't let the warlocks bite.
Indeed. Goodbye.
Bye. Piper and Pooh, they've got evil to slay and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next week with Kendra and Kat on Charm Chats.
By the forces of heaven and hell, draw to us this woman fell. Rend from her foul desire that she may perish as a moth to fire.